Hey everyone, welcome back to Animal Notebook. Today's explainer is all about macaws, marvels of the Amazon. We're diving headfirst into the brilliantly colored, incredibly intelligent, and, let's be honest, surprisingly loud world of these iconic birds. By the end of this, you're going to know exactly why they're the undisputed, vibrant kings of the rainforest canopy.
I mean, right off the bat, hooking your attention isn't exactly hard when we're talking about an animal with this kind of massive size and vivid rainbow colors. They have just this undeniable presence, right? But macaws aren't just a pretty face. They're equipped with these incredibly powerful beaks that command serious respect across the whole animal kingdom.
Now, I absolutely love this quote from our source material. It says, "Humans looked at a rainbow-colored bird that screams like a fire alarm with opinions and thought, 'Yes, I will keep this in my house.'" I feel like that just perfectly sets the tone for today. It completely nails the contrast between their wild majesty and the somewhat chaotic reality of actually living with one. They're magnificent for sure, but man, they are a handful.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to start by meeting the macaw, exploring life in the rainforest, and then diving into their brilliant brains and behavior. After that, we'll do a quick pet reality check, touch on conservation and survival, and then wrap the whole thing up with your top macaw FAQs.
All right, Section 1, Meet the Macaw, Anatomy and Diversity. Let's get into it.
First off, the sheer scale of these birds is just incredible. Macaws belong to the parrot order, Psittacermes, but they are literally some of the absolute largest parrots on planet Earth. Depending on the species, and there are about 17 of them, they can range from almost a foot long to a staggering 39.5 inches. Think about that. That is over 3 feet of bird, weighing up to nearly 4 pounds. And their diversity is just as wild as their size. Take the massive hyacinth macaw, for example. It's cloaked entirely in this stunning, deep cobalt blue, and it's actually the largest flying parrot species in the world. Compare that to your classic, vibrant, multicolored species flaunting those iconic reds, yellows, greens, and blues. Those bright colors actually help them camouflage perfectly within the sun-dappled canopy of the tropical rainforest. It's like nature's optical illusion.
Now, how they interact with that canopy brings us to their zygodactyl feet. So unlike a lot of birds that have 3 toes pointing forward and 1 back, macaws have 2 pointing forward and 2 pointing backward. This setup basically acts like a pair of hands. It lets them expertly grasp objects, bring food right up to their mouths, and climb tree branches like these highly coordinated feathered acrobats.
Moving on to Section 2, Life in the Rainforest, Diet and Environment.
So, macaws are native to the highly diverse habitats of Central and South America. They navigate everything from tropical rainforests to woodlands and savannas, where these huge, colorful flocks forage together. They rely heavily on these environments for their main diet, which is packed with nuts, seeds, fruits, and berries. And you know that massive, curved beak we were talking about earlier? Yeah, it's strong enough to crack open rock-hard items like Brazil nuts without even breaking a sweat.
But here is a totally fascinating survival trick they've developed. Let's call it the rainforest detox. You see, a lot of the seeds and unripened fruits macaws eat contain naturally harsh plant toxins. So to combat this, they fly down to exposed riverbanks and literally eat dirt. Seriously. This clay-licking behavior acts as a natural antacid. The clay binds to the dietary toxins, completely neutralizing them, while simultaneously giving the birds essential minerals. It basically looks like this giant, messy, muddy therapy session, but it is an absolutely vital survival mechanism.
All right. Up next is Section 3, Brilliant Brains and Behavior, Intelligence and Social Dynamics.
You guys, macaws are absolute cognitive marvels. They don't just act on simple instinct. They can actually solve complex puzzles to get to their food. They are super famous for their ability to mimic human speech and ambient sounds, and some species even use tools. On top of that, they form incredibly long-term memories, like they could remember individual faces and totally hold grudges. They're also highly emotional creatures, fully capable of experiencing deep affection, but also severe stress and boredom if they aren't properly stimulated.
And that emotional depth ties directly into their intense social lives. In the wild, macaws live in these bustling flocks of 10 to 30 birds. They form lifelong monogamous pair bonds, and the parents tenderly care for their chicks inside natural tree cavities. And those chicks? They are born completely blind and featherless, relying entirely on their parents for months before they're finally ready to fledge.
Okay, let's pivot to Section 4, the pet reality check, wild versus captive.
We really need to look at the reality gap here. First up, lifespan.
Out in the wild, macaws live about 30 to 40 years. But in captivity, safe from predators, getting regular vet care, they routinely live 50 to 60 plus years. You aren't just getting a pet, you might literally be writing this bird into your will. Second, their natural instinct to chew is a massive issue. In the wild, they chew to expand tree cavities and keep their beaks healthy. But inside your house, yeah, that instinct quickly turns toward completely destroying your doors, baseboards, and your most expensive furniture.
And then, of course, there's the noise. Our source material perfectly describes having a macaw as being less about pet ownership and way more like hosting a small, feathered emergency system. Remember, their vocalizations are designed by nature to carry for miles across a really dense, noisy rainforest. When that exact same fire alarm level squawk goes off in your enclosed apartment living room, well, it's a harsh reality check that a lot of potential owners simply are not prepared for.
Which brings us to Section 5, Conservation and Survival, Protecting the Kings of the Canopy.
So while we've been talking all about their majestic traits, we do have to face a pretty grim reality. Many macaw species are currently endangered. Rampant deforestation is stripping away the ancient trees they desperately rely on for food and nesting cavities. And on top of that, the illegal pet trade continues to poach wild populations at alarming rates. In fact, some species, like the beautiful Spix's macaw, are actually considered extinct in the wild right now, surviving only in highly specialized protected breeding programs.
Finally, Section 6, Macaw FAQs. Let's hit your top 4 questions answered. FAQ number 1. Do macaws really mate for life? The answer to that is an absolute yes. They are highly monogamous. Once they choose a partner, they spend an enormous amount of time together. They're constantly grooming each other, sharing food, and flying wingtip to wingtip. In the macaw world, breakups are exceptionally rare.
Moving on to FAQ number 2. Why do macaws eat dirt? Well, as we saw earlier, this clay-licking behavior is basically a genius survival hack. It's a muddy therapy session that neutralizes the harsh natural plant toxins found in their diet of fruits and seeds, all while giving them a crucial boost of essential minerals.
Okay, FAQ number 3. How long do macaws live as pets? Just to reiterate, they can easily live 50 to 60 plus years in captivity. So taking a macaw into your home isn't just a casual decision, it's a massive lifetime commitment that honestly might actually outlast you.
And our final FAQ, what is the biggest threat to macaws today? The sad truth here is that human activity is their greatest enemy. The combination of massive habitat loss through deforestation and the ruthless illegal pet trade is just decimating wild populations all across Central and South America.
Which leaves us with this final, really important thought. Will we save the rainforests before the last macaw calls fade into silence? It's a critical question and one that requires real global awareness and action. Thank you so much for joining me today to uncover the secrets of these incredible marvels of the Amazon. If you enjoyed this explainer and want to keep learning about the amazing creatures that share our planet, definitely hit that subscribe button for Animal Notebook. We'll see you next time.